to Coffee with Caregivers, a new feature from the National Foster Parent Association. If you're new to joining us for the first time, we've got a really good episode for you today, a very timely episode. If you are kind of one of our watchers, and you'll see that the background behind me has changed. I moved around in my living room to a different spot, so it might look a little different today. Since we moved in this little bitty apartment that we live in now from the really big houses we've always lived in, I don't have many choices about background because I don't have many walls anymore to do that with. So anyway, it does look a little different. But I wanted to share the cup I have today. And it's not really that anybody special gave it to me or that it has a sentimental value necessarily from my childhood or any of those, like some that I've introduced to you in the past. But when we moved in February to this apartment living for the first time in our lives, downsizing because we're getting too old to take care of everything in a big house. I got some new dishes, and I hadn't had new dishes in a really long time. And so I thought, okay, I got to spark this place up a little bit. And this is one of my new cups. And so for me, it's fun. It's something different that I've never had shaped like this or any of that stuff. So I guess change is always hard, but change is usually winds up being for the best. And certainly it has been for us as well. Today we're going to talk about recruitment and retention of foster families. Critical need, as always, and there will continue to be a critical need. We need to address the retention of these families, though, as well, because turnover is brutal to children who had joined those families. And it's brutal to the system because it takes a lot to bring on a foster family and to feel secure about them. And when they quit after a year, like statistics tell us about 50% do nationwide, we start over. And we're not building wise foster families anymore because they're not hanging in there long enough to get wiser and wiser with every child. So I've asked two women that I believe are really, truly leaders in this country on looking at the dynamics of foster care. They both are executive directors or CEOs of foster care and foster adoptive parent associations. And they represent two different parts of the country. So I'm going to briefly introduce each one, and then they'll introduce themselves a little bit more for you. So first is Margaret Doherty, and she is Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families. Welcome, Margaret.
Hi, Irene.
And then DeAnna Alonso, who's with the Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoptive Association.
Hi, Irene. Hi, Margaret.
DeAnna, we've had the opportunity to work together on numerous occasions. These ladies are vital to the Council of State Affiliates network, and the work of the state affiliates for NFPA is vital to the NFPA. So good to have you both here. So Margaret, would you mind introducing yourself first?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Margaret Doherty, the Executive Director at the Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families. I remain coming into the office every morning while the rest of our staff and our volunteers work from home. We are very energetic. We are revitalized, especially in the month of May, for Foster Parent Appreciation Month. I call it Foster Parent Appreciation Month. We've done a photo montage as well as a video that we are sending to all of our families in Connecticut. We are working with our child welfare agency in each of their 14 offices to go out and celebrate foster parents this month. We are delivering meals, we are delivering gift cards, we are giving restaurant vouchers to folks, and we're very excited. We also are partnering with Walmart and Amazon and doing they've given us huge amounts of donated items, which we are very safely, with our masks, delivering to foster families if they need diapers, if they need baby wipes, if they need toys for kids to keep them occupied. So we are busier than we have ever been in the month of May.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a special cup you would like to?
I do. I have my Weekend for a Lifetime, and we can come back and talk about this later, but our child welfare agency has been doing Weekend for a Lifetime over the last year to try to, well, it's the pre-licensing training. Folks have been doing some of their trainings, and then they come for a weekend. They hole up in a hotel and finish their pre-licensing training in Connecticut. Of course, this is all before the virus hit. But, yeah, we have done Weekends for a Lifetime throughout the state of Connecticut, and really increase the number of foster families becoming licensed. So here's my cup.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
DeAnna.
Hi, Margaret. That is a neat deal right there. Weekend for a
Yeah.
Lifetime. I might have to give you a side call on that one.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't let all of our listeners know that you are a new grandma.
Oh,
You're
Yay!
just bursting with joy, and I have so much fun watching all the pictures and things on Facebook, because I think I remarked one time that, you know, every photo, whether it's you or other family members with that beautiful baby, it's just pure joy on everybody's face, and it's really wonderful to watch. I appreciate you sharing that with everybody.
Oh, you're welcome. It is she has certainly brought a different level of joy and love into my life. It's a different kind of feeling for sure, and I just soak it up every minute, and I'm so happy for it. And you know, I talk to her and I'm like, you know, in just a few years we're going to go to Elmo Live, you know, and stuff like that. We're going to do some fun stuff, you know, because all my kiddos are now grown. But thank you, Irene, for inviting me on today. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be with you. And Margaret, it's good to see you, even virtually. You know, we typically gather up and come together at least once or twice a year with the National Foster Parent Association. And like Margaret was mentioning, even with Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association, which I have the pleasure to be the CEO for and one of the founders of the organization, we too have had to get real creative. You see that I'm in my office, but we were at a work from home status for several weeks, from March to mid-May even, just to put some safety around the employees. We are essential in our state, and so we were still doing what we could for those families and children, because, you know, abuse and neglect doesn't stop because there's a pandemic. But in the state of Missouri, we saw a 50% drop in hotline calls. And that does certainly put some concern around us, around the state as a whole. So we anticipate, you know, numbers to start increasing as the rollout of opening back up our state occurs, and we're at the first pillar of that. But we've been doing about the same things as Margaret was mentioning. We have been doing porch drop-offs of different fun packs and different things like that, because we certainly can't be doing the face-to-face respite events. And our family development department has got creative and worked with our stakeholders at the state. And so we've been doing virtual trainings, STARS, Spalding, Strong. All of the trainings have been provided to our families. Now, you mentioned earlier, Irene, about that walkthrough or that assessment piece, or, you know, the background checks and things like that. Now, there are some parameters around some of that, certainly, but we have been able to keep the seats filled and keep people moving through the process. We've even got them through CPR training online, and whenever they come back around, or whenever we open back up, they'll have to come in and do those testings in person. But we've been able to do a lot of the training, go through the books and all, you know, the competencies of all of this, you know, in a virtual like setting. And what are the feedback that we're getting is families are enjoying this piece. And I don't know if there'll be an option to have both in the future, but it certainly is something to consider, I think, as the economy gets to going and workers are coming back. You know, I think there are going to be some discussions with even bosses and different things like that about can we divide this in half? Can we go home and can we go to the office? But I, like Margaret, I've been coming in about 90% of the time whenever we were on a work from home, just because it's where all of my computer, you know, all of the stuff is. And so those masks that were given to us by some United Way agencies in which we're partners with, and the state has provided some as well. And so we've been in a position to where we are keeping everyone safe. In terms of May for Foster Care Awareness Month, we are so excited. Our IT and marketing department, along with our program department, decided they wanted to do a campaign, and the campaign is just to thank foster parents. You know, from my personal history of being a foster child, aging out, being a foster parent, adoptive parent, kinship parent, and running an organization, I certainly understand what it is to be acknowledged for the hard work of caring for children and giving them all that you can. So we have a campaign, a thank you campaign, and people can see those videos online. And it's been really good. We've had the mayor, we've had you know, different businesses and different people just say thank you to our foster parents, and I think that's real critical for them to hear right now, especially right now.
So when in your states, kinship care, is that formal or informal, or can it be both? And where, if you have formal kinship care, do they have to be licensed as foster parents to fall into the realm of the things that you're talking about as far as bringing them on and then retention, or do you serve that population as well?
In Missouri or Margaret State?
Actually, for both of you. It's a question for both of you.
Go ahead, DeAnna.
Well, in our state, we serve under our Kinship Navigator model. We serve both formal and informal. We really feel strongly about the informal cases, kind of on the cusp, that not necessarily have been involved in child welfare. We see grandma and grandpas that are on fixed incomes, you know, different things like that, and they're really struggling without any support. And so we've stepped up in our navigators really walk alongside formal and informal, and we've seen huge successes from that, and we will continue to do that. Now, I've got some colleagues across the state that don't serve informal, but they stick within the formal constraints of that, and that's okay. But I think it comes from experience. That I know that those informal caregivers need our assistance too. So we do both in our Kinship Navigator program.
Okay, good. Margaret, do y'all serve any kinship families?
We do. We mostly serve kinship families that decide to go through the foster care program and become licensed, because in our state, there's such a financial difference between the informal kinship program and formal kinship with a license through our Department of Children and Families. But we definitely do also try to reach out to those kinship families that decide that they don't want to go through the child welfare system and that they would rather go through a transfer of guardianship through probate court or something less formal. So yeah, we do both as well, but there's, at least financially, there's a huge impact in that decision for families.
Right. Well, given the times with the pandemic and certainly then with foster care month, I've had requests for tons of interviews with various types of media. And lots of articles have been written about what's happening in foster care. And one of the questions that I get is a lot of times is, well, y'all keep talking about the supports and services that foster families need to stay well and healthy themselves so they can produce wellness, right? And good health for the children who join their family through foster care. But what about those families that are doing kinship care and they get none of those same supports and services?
Yeah.
What about them? And it always brings it home to me that, yeah, what about them? My state is, I'm in Texas, we do have a formalized kinship program last few years, and it's wonderful. But we do have families who choose not to be a part of that because they're afraid to be a part of that. And so I'm always concerned about that. And one of the ways that we've decided to try to help that situation is with our new National Foster Parent Association Training Institute website. It is hugely popular, and it's only been rolled out like 2 weeks. And I think as of yesterday, we had right at, 550 people signed on to take almost 1,300 courses.
Wow.
Because it's all free. So anybody parenting who needs help can go there and get it. And we're hoping that the networks will spread that word out to those kinship providers, both formalized and those that are informal, so that they know there's someplace to go 24/7 if you need some information on a topic, right? On how to parent a kid with this or that, or how do I make it through the night? I can't take this anymore. All of those things. And we're also certainly hoping that will relay through the systems so that the parents of the children who actually have to come into the system, right, will know there's an opportunity for them too, at no charge. If they got a device, they can go on and they can get help to be a better parent upon reunification and to help them achieve that. So I think, we're trying to address some of those kinds of issues of support to all families through the organization. And I'm really proud of the board of directors and others, and certainly the council and state affiliates for sanctioning that we need to be able to provide that and at no charge, and certainly to our corporate sponsor who has made that all possible. But we know that's not the only supports and services that families need, right? So could you talk a little bit about, well, first of all, what is it that makes you feel secure? If it does make you feel secure, I guess I should qualify that, in licensing folks to be foster parents in this new way of doing business when you don't have much interaction. Oops. So if you could maybe speak a little bit to that. I mean, what are the things in this that you've got going that you think is allowing to make good decisions?
Margaret, do you want to take that one first?
Well, so we are in Connecticut. We hope very soon to begin doing the pre-licensing trainings. And they probably will be virtual for a while, but at least there'll be a visual component with the folks who are becoming licensed. I know that I've talked with folks around the country, as I know both of you know, that the whole exercise of getting fingerprinted for background checks for foster parents has come to a halt. But we think that as long as we can get folks an introductory pre-licensing training program done virtually, we'll be able to get new families licensed. I will say that at least in Connecticut, the number of calls coming into our, we call it Kid Hero here in Connecticut. We have a one-stop place of a phone number for people to call to begin the process of becoming licensed foster parents. And we operate that phone line, and then we help people get into pre-licensing training classes. And the number of telephone calls has kind of remained steady, but the number of internet inquiries on our website, as well as on the Connecticut Department of Children and Families website, that has really increased. And it surprised me, but I'm so happy that during this pandemic, there are people who are saying, you know what, I have a safe home. I'm a good person. I can parent kids temporarily while the adults in their lives figure out what needs to happen. So I'm very, very encouraged by the increase in the number of inquiries coming in about how to become a foster parent now. It's very heartening, and I'm very optimistic that despite all of the difficulties in terms of, you know, the traditional approach of getting people licensed and going through the background checks and all that, we have to figure out a new way to do that. But the great thing is that people are opening their hearts and their homes right now, and you know, we know we're going to need them. So I'm just really optimistic.
Thank you. I kind of broke up a while ago, and I have to apologize that I got distracted by my daughter. So my apologies on that. DeAnna, any thoughts on that?
Sure. Margaret brought up the point about fingerprinting, and us too in the state saw a real drop in fingerprinting, period.
Right.
The sites were closed. And you know, there's nobody going to be able to foster, adopt, or even provide any sort of service to abused and neglected children without having fingerprints. We know that. So as fingerprint sites start coming back, we do have a pretty substantial list now that are opening back up. I did some research myself, and we will become a fingerprinting site in the next couple of weeks. So in the future, if that's an issue, our development of families will not stop. That's really important to me and to the state, and I think to the counties that we serve. You know, that these families who have stepped up and are willing to do the tough work, and even in challenging situations like this, a worldwide pandemic, their hands are still being raised, and they're still willing to step in and say, you know, these kids deserve it, they're worth it, and we want to do it. And so we want to walk with them to make sure that we can make that a reality for them. So I wanted to lean into the process, and so we will be working with the contractor to bring a fingerprinting site to our Osage Beach office in Missouri, and then so that we can do that. But it will also be open to the generalized public, so that we can fingerprint teachers, and we can, you know, and that development of relationships within our communities is a big deal to me too. Because as you can imagine, anyone can be a foster parent. but it takes some real relationship building to stick with it. And so we believe that there'll be a small percentage that walks in our door curious about our organization, that had no clue except for they're just getting their fingerprints taken, and ask us, what is fostering, and we want to take that opportunity to develop a relationship and really educate them on that. And hopefully they'll come back around and maybe even do some respite, maybe even dip their toe into respite, and then go on further to be a foster parent. But certainly for our development department, it's going to be a game changer for that. We've also seen an increase in inquiries for fostering. People are really interested in doing this right now. Even further than that, we took a survey just to kind of see what was out there in terms of kids who may come down with the virus, and would they be willing to temporarily foster the kiddos if there were other kiddos in the home and biological families and stuff. We had quite a few raise their hand or click the yes button, that absolutely they would do that with the protective gear and equipment. That just brought joy to my heart,
Absolutely. That's one of the questions that every reporter, regardless of what type of media it was, has asked.
Yeah, and I would
still willing to take these kids.
Yep,
Absolutely.
I would absolutely encourage people to take a survey. Survey the folks around your community and ask them, would you be willing? You'd be surprised that the number of people that would certainly help in situations like this.
Right. One of the things that we did the first week of May at NFPA was work with our CHAMPS partners, in particular NACAC, North American Council on Adoptable Children, and other partners, to develop an open letter to Congress that we sent to every congressperson in DC, and all the committee staff that on committees that have some realm of foster care within their authority. And I've been so pleasantly surprised at the number of responses we were getting from the staff folks, and not just from the elected officials themselves, but also from committees that are really vital to the decisions that are being made, and certainly the funding that comes to the foster care system. And the response that we've gotten from the Children's Bureau and folks like that about the policy guidance and that we had listed in there. One of the things, actually it was our first bullet out of, I think, like 6, was that we felt that foster families and the staff that work directly with the children, with their families, and then connect all those 3 together, should be considered first responders. And in that light, that there should be plenty of PPE, when families need that, particularly if they have concerns about a new child, and welcoming a new child to their family, and they don't have much background about where has that child been, who they've been around perhaps, and they have some fear. And just kind of that whole realm of quick, rapid testing, that as it becomes more available, to have that available to the folks within the foster care system as first responders, so that people would have a better level of trust that they're going to get the help they need, that the child is either has the COVID-19 or maybe was exposed, but that there be some assurances for them. Because what we've found in talking with some folks who've talked to us is that, if I just had a little bit of reassurance, I'm not asking for, I just need some reassurance a little bit that somebody's even asked the questions, right? And so hopefully that, some of these things, as the Congress is looking to figure out whether the next steps, not only for funding, as we kind of do change the way we do our work every day, but to shape policy as that gets developed that oftentimes has nothing to do with the funding, but it's how we implement what's already there, besides anything new that comes down the pike, would make sense. And so we felt it was vital that the foster caregivers' voices were heard, particularly during May, but also during this time period, because we hadn't done a formal letter to Congress or anything like that in March or April. So really happy we were able to do that as well. DeAnna went in and we were talking, we never got to your cup, and I don't want to leave that out because you have a cup that means something to you, and I'd love for you to share that right quick.
Yeah, so this is my Mizzou cup. And so Mizzou, the University of Missouri is really important to me. One of my good friends gave this to me whenever I graduated with my master's, graduate certificate or degree last May. And, it's really important to me because it took a long road and journey to get to this, to this part in my life. Knowing, and both of you guys know about my story, but the rest of the world may not. But to share coming through trauma and aging out of the foster care system and not having a lot of people around you give you just the momentum to keep going. And sometimes you just feel like you just don't know if you can take another step forward. And, in my undergraduate at Lincoln University here in Jefferson City, where my headquarters is, there were some professors at that school that just would not let me give up. And one of those was Dr. Deborah Word, and she will always be and will be and continue to be a huge mentor in my life. And she reminded me, don't look at it as a huge picture, DeAnna, just take one class at a time. And as you know, I had, went from one child to 4 children overnight because I took in my nieces and nephew, and just was a new mom way back then. And so I was able to graduate with my undergrad degree and then got to thinking, this crazy thought in my head was, you think I could do graduate school too? And so, Zonta International, which is a women's organization in my community, sent me back to school in that undergrad course. And I just they were sisters and mothers and friends and all of those things that I craved for, and they just would not let me quit. And in undergrad, I was able to graduate with honors with a 3.8 GPA, and in graduate school, I did the same. And I couldn't believe it. Sometimes it's really surreal. But I tell you, for every young adult out there that's coming through foster care and you feel like you don't see the light is there, and it becomes real apparent whenever you start selecting and choosing people around you to speak positive accolades into your life. And so because of that, I'll cheers to the University of Missouri and thank them and thank all the mentors out there for holding my hand, and lifting me up and just giving me that opportunity. Whenever I walked across that stage last May, I did a little dance whenever I came off that stage, and I did a twirl, and I gave it up to God and to, all those who had a part in my life. And it's a really neat feeling to be able to say you did something that was worth it. And so for this month, for all of those who are out there that are fostering, that are adopting, that are caring, and you feel like it's a struggle or you feel like you can't go on, that's not true. And just reach out to NFPA, reach out to Margaret's organization, my organization. It's nothing for you guys to just pick up the phone and call us. We are here for you. We want to be here for you. We are not going away unless somebody drags us away. And it's just a wonderful thing for us to be in this piece of the world, especially now. So thank you for letting me share that story.
You're very welcome. You do have quite a story, and your leadership within the state of Missouri, and certainly is spreading beyond that. And, you know, I think early on, I think it was actually you, DeAnna, that said something about relationships, and it is. So at that point, we were talking about, you know, getting new families on and building relationships in order to help make them feel strong, you know, and capable and trusting and all those things. But it goes the full scope of the whole parameter of foster care, from the needs of the children and the relationships they need in order to become strong, right? Healthy people, through all of us that work so hard to make sure that that's available to each one of them. Hopefully back with their families. If not, you know, then whatever that next plan is. But I don't see any of us, you know, giving that up very soon. May retire soon, but I'm not going to give it up because I still got a burden in my belly about making the system better every single day for every single family who needs the assistance. I know, Margaret, I know your passion there is the same. So thank you, ladies. You just have been wonderful. It's so good to see your faces and talk with you. And I'm sorry we won't see each other in June at our conference, but
I know.
hopefully we'll have a fall
Such a bummer.
get together then and share some more experiences. Any final last words for our audience before we go?
You know, I said this to our child welfare department leaders last week. It dawned on me that we can work so hard to try to build the best child welfare system, but what it really takes is it's the relationships. It's people to people relationships. That's what really makes it work.
Yeah, I would agree, Margaret. It takes a special kind of pause to remember that this isn't about anything but building a relationship with a child, a youth, a partner, a stakeholder, you know, a collaborative effort, a contract, you know, whatever it is, you gotta look all the way across the board. And I know time, people don't want to give their time. It's just so precious, right? The time. But I would encourage people, just take an hour out of your week even and go connect with somebody that maybe you don't know, and take the other hour to connect with somebody you do know, and give yourself that 2 hours of relationship time away from the screen, even wear your mask if you want to, social distance in a lawn chair at the park. Just look upon a friend's face or a new friend's face, because it gives you the ability to keep going. And things, you know, we're doing virtual everything now, right? But I still go back to the olden days where it's nice to sit across the table and have a cup of coffee with a friend. And that might give my age away, but I'm not sure. But I will just say that it means more than me than anything else to be able to see a friend and see them face to face, and even take a walk or just talk about neat things, and things that are going on in your lives and in other people's lives too. And I'm sorry, Irene, that you guys aren't able to have the conference this year. I know everyone always looks forward to it, and it was in a great place this year, and we were certainly looking forward to coming and hanging out with everybody. But there will be a time where we can do that again. So stay
Absolutely.
well and stay healthy.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know, if everything goes somewhat back to normal, where we're going to have conferences next year in 2021, we're going to actually go back to that very beautiful place in Reston, Virginia.
Yay.
That we planned on being at. Just a couple of days different, the dates actually from this year. And so we're well on our way to that, and certainly hope that can come to fruition.
Yay.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that.
So, you know, just as a kind of a closing, For all those folks that are viewing or later will watch some of these episodes on our website, they're archived on YouTube for posterity. Please, you're never alone.
Nope.
And there can be days as a foster parent, as a parent, period, as an adoptive parent, kinship parent, that you feel like everybody's abandoned you and you don't know what to do. But that's not true. There are 3 people right here in front of you. No matter where you live, will talk to you. I can guarantee it, because they care. And they can connect you with people closer to you that also care and will talk with you and help you get through the tough times. We do a lot of that at the National Foster Parent Association, and I know the states do too. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
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 The staff of the Connecticut Alliance for Foster and Adoptive Families wants to thank you for all that you do.
My name is Margaret Doherty. I'm the Executive Director here at the Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families.
Hi, I'm DeAnna Alonso, Program Director with the Connecticut Alliance of Foster and Adoptive Families.
Greetings from Deb Candelora, the Meriden Office KFAF Liaison.
This is Jennifer Bellamy. I'm the Torrington Liaison.
Hi, this is Joseph Montalvo, Milford KFAF Liaison.
Hello, my name is Shalita. I'm the Norwalk Liaison.
Dora Palma, KFAF Liaison for Danbury.
Hi, I'm Emily Churchill, the Willimantic KFAF Liaison.
Brian Candelora, Area Liaison in the New Britain office.
Hi, my name is Marian. I'm the New Haven KFAF Liaison.
Hi, I am Emilio Vargas and I'm the Waterbury KFAF Liaison.
Hi, I'm Lisa Ortiz. I'm the Harvard KFAF Liaison.
Hi, I'm Wendy Sander, the Peer Network Coordinator with the Buddy Program and the KFAF Help.
Hi, I'm Catherine Davis. I'm the Outreach Coordinator.
Renee LaValle, KFAF Liaison out of the Norwich office.
Hi, this is Kyle Oland, Manchester Area KFAF Liaison.
Hi, my name is Cherie Breeden. I'm the KFAF Liaison from the Bridgeport area.
My name is Barbara Grant, and I am the Executive Administrative Assistant at KFAF.
And we'd like you to know,
every year we appreciate everything you do, especially this year. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate all that you do.
Gracias por todo lo que haces.
Thank you to all you foster parents out there for everything you do.
Hey, thank you for all that you do. Mil gracias.
Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you.
And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We appreciate everything that you are doing.
Thank you for all the work that you do with the children and with the families during this time.
We appreciate you each and every day and everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you and your family for your courageousnose and positivity.
We truly value you. Thank you so much. Gracias por todo. We are in this together.
Still here to support you working from home.
Happy Foster Parent Month.